The abolition of slavery in the 19th century. The abolition of slavery in the 19th century marked a significant turning point in the history of the United States and the world. The movement to end the institution of slavery, which had existed for centuries in many societies, gained momentum in the early 1800s and ultimately led to the passage of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1865, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. The abolitionist movement in the United States was a diverse and complex movement that included individuals and groups from various backgrounds and perspectives. Some abolitionists, such as Frederick Douglass, were former slaves who had escaped to freedom and used their experiences to advocate for the abolition of slavery. Others, like William Lloyd Garrison, were white abolitionists who were deeply committed to the cause of ending slavery. The abolitionist movement faced significant opposition from pro-slavery individuals and groups, who argued that slavery was necessary for the economic prosperity of the country and that enslaved people were not capable of living as free citizens. These arguments were challenged by abolitionists, who presented evidence of the brutal treatment of enslaved people and the economic benefits of abolition. The abolitionist movement also faced significant opposition from the government, which passed laws such as the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which made it a federal crime to assist an enslaved person in escaping to freedom. This law was heavily enforced and led to the capture and return of many enslaved people who had escaped to freedom. Despite these obstacles, the abolitionist movement continued to gain momentum in the mid-19th century. The Civil War, which began in 1861, brought the issue of slavery to the forefront of national attention and ultimately led to the passage of the 13th Amendment. This amendment abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime, and was ratified by the states in 1865. The abolition of slavery had a profound impact on the United States and the world. It marked the end of an institution that had existed for centuries and had deeply affected the lives of millions of people. The abolition of slavery also had significant economic and social consequences, as it led to the end of the system of forced labor that had been the foundation of the American economy. The abolition of slavery also had a significant impact on the lives of African Americans, who were now free to live their lives as they chose. However, the fight for equality and civil rights for African Americans did not end with the abolition of slavery. The struggle for equality and civil rights continued throughout the 19th century and into the 20th century, as African Americans faced discrimination and segregation in many areas of life. In conclusion, the abolition of slavery in the 19th century marked a significant turning point in the history of the United States and the world. It was a long and difficult struggle, but ultimately led to the end of an institution that had affected the lives of millions of people. The abolition of slavery also had significant economic and social consequences and played a major role in shaping the future of the United States. It also marked the beginning of the long and ongoing fight for equality and civil rights for African Americans.